Hey friends, TUXX here. I wanted to make some Pokemon tips and tricks for New York City. We went last year and it was a lot of fun, but I want to throw these out there. Okay, first off, if you're taking Randalls Island from the bottom, you're going over a bridge, okay? This is a long walk, guys. It really is. And if you're kind of afraid of heights or whatever, keep in mind you're walking over traffic, you're walking over water, you're walking over an exposed bridge. It might be a longer walk than you really want to do, and it may just not be a great situation if you're afraid of heights or whatever. Once you make it past the bridge, if you come from the south side, there's a large area you have to walk in. It's kind of walking through a whole nature trail essentially, but it's not like you get across the bridge and you're at GoFest. You're not. You agree to maps, gives you an idea where you're at. We were starting at the bottom of the island for our particular Pokemon adventure. Big open area, and I think this is part of my problem too, is some of the other GoFests were a lot more smaller, so it felt fuller and more of an event. This area is so large that you can see here there's a lot of open area, so it really feels a little quiet, but the place really was packed. There was tons of Pokemon Go players, but it was just such a big area. This is the line for the merch I'm going to come back to in just a moment, but basically, you have your little tents like usual. You see the yellow one, you see the red one, we got a blue one hiding over here somewhere, but they're so spread out that it's just a big open area, and it really felt a little underwhelming because of the size. Now the events themselves, you can see, are very beautiful. There's a little fairy tree stump or whatever, and of course lots of players, poison swamp. They have the usual little areas, but they really are spread out, and because of the way Randall Island is set up, that it's a really long walk between the top and the bottom, and you only have a couple hours, so it's like very much a cram fest. You're grinding really hard to try and get everything in during the time allotted, and there's little events under the tents and things like usual. The prizes in 23 were like little plastic things compared to better prizes in previous years, so that was a little disappointment. But again, there's a line for the merch. Okay, so if you're thinking about doing merch, you may want to do that very early on, because here's a little clip I made last year of the merch thing where I was talking about it. It's a really long wait, okay? So that wait could easily take you a couple hours of your your morning or PM allotted at the park, okay? And keep in mind, when your time runs out at the park at Randall Island, you're going to lose all those Pokemon. Like, it's going to disappear off your map because they're going to want you to play the city experience. So you could very well spend, a big chunk of your time just in the merch line. And of course you can catch Pokemon there, but it's really hard to complete quests there because you need things from the volcano area, the ice area, or the fairy area, or whatever, so it's very difficult to get everything just walking in a line, even if the line is immensely long, and here's another view of the line. Now this is a merch center itself. It's a big tent, okay, and they only accept credit cards, so keep that in mind. No cash, okay? At least that's the way it was last year. And there's like buckets of Pokemon stuff, and it's kind of haphazardly thrown into little bins or whatever. The presentation, I would say, was not the best, tell you the truth. It ran very well, and the lines were pretty quick and everything once you were in the tent. But just for what you're getting for that hour-long, 2-hour-long wait in line, you're buying things you could buy at Nintendo Center with a lot better presentation and a lot less waiting, and burning up your Randall Island time, But they did have big bins of Pokemon. As you can see, they had lots of great stuff for sure, and there might be a few things they didn't have. Now, one of my favorite things at 23 Pokemon GoFest was this walk to Central Park. And this was organized, I want to say, by Trainer Club, and is a situation where they actually allowed the police to shut down traffic from, I believe it was Bryant Park, or one of the parks, the South Park, I think I got the park name there wrong, to Central Park. So everyone kind of got together and they waited, for it to start, and then for, the go ahead. And then the police actually went through and they actually shut down traffic so you could cross the street without waiting for lights and all that good thing. I think there's Trainer Club vlogging or whatever at the beginning of it. So it was really the best part of GoFest 23, I think, was the city experience, and in particular that walk to the park. Even though it was a very long walk, it was good. The only negative I would say about the walk to the park was the fact that the group was so large that there was times where it seemed like you're going to do raids along the way, and then you'd fall back a little bit. And by the time we got to the park, it kind of felt underwhelming because we got to Central Park, and there were still people walking in behind us and in front of us, but it seemed like the group was so spread out and so long that it really didn't feel like, yay, we made it. We made the end of the park. We made it to the park. Let's do some raids with all these raiders. It was kind of like dwindled down by that point, And again, there was people behind us, people in front of us, but it just seemed like I wish there would have been some Niantic thing at the park saying, hey, welcome to Central Park or whatever. Or here's a crazy idea. Why don't they just have the event at Central Park? Randall Island is a huge pain in the butt to get to. They say that you can go there from the top or the bottom. The top is Harlem, okay? It's a sketchy neighborhood. And I'm from Miami, and I'm no snowflake, okay? But honestly, Harlem, let's get off the subway, stand in Harlem for a bus to go to Randall Island, or let's walk through Harlem and go to Randall Island. It's not the best neighborhood, okay? And again, from Miami, to Florida most of my life, big cities, but it's not the best area, okay? So walking around with, a cell phone or two exposed or whatever is kind of asking for trouble. So you may want to do Pokemon Go Plus. I've heard Miss Mimes mention this, Pokemon Go Plus in your pocket. That's a really good tip from her, and a good channel too I'd recommend checking out. But it's the type of thing where exposing your phone might just be asking for someone to grab your phone, It might just. Now, I do recommend staying around other like-minded individuals. If you're with Pokemon people, there's a better chance you're going to be safe. And that's a good part of, being around other people, be with a group, and even if it's people you don't know, just kind of, you can easily identify who's playing Pokemon, so, and Pokemon people often have Pokemon shirts and blah, 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 so they're easy to identify. These little horse-drawn carriages was another thing you could do in Central Park, and they move slow enough that you could actually catch Pokemon. Now, I will mention the smell of horse manure was really strong in this area, so if you have allergic problems or something, that may be something you want to keep in mind, okay? The actual walking around the city, going back to the city here, was a lot of fun. In fact, I love New York City when it comes to playing Pokemon and just visiting. There's so many shops to check out, things to do. It's a lot of fun, okay? But, again, I wish they would actually have the GoFest event in Central Park. Niantic, are you hearing me? Why? I wish they would at least explain the idea, because Randall Island is so big and so vast that it's a weird question mark type shape. So it's not like a easy loop or whatever. And Central Park is big too. It's bigger, quite honestly. But they could just pit off a little section like Central Park South or something, and have the event in one part of Central Park so people could play, enjoy, and not have to grind through, either the morning Saturday or the PM Saturday or Sunday, half a day in Randall Island, where it's so hard to get to Randall Island and it's so hard to get off Randall Island. And by the time you're done, you're kind of beat, quite honestly, from all that walking and everything to get off Randall Island. It can be tough, But in New York, at least when you're walking around in New York City, there's other tourists walking around, there's people walking around. It's not like having to walk through Harlem to get to Randall Island, okay? And nothing against Harlem again, but I'm just saying, just be careful, be aware of your surroundings. This guy wearing the headphones, looking down his phone there on the left-hand side may not be the best thing as you're playing Pokemon if you're not with a big group, okay? And again, this walk to Central Park was a lot of fun, And in Central Park, there's food vendors. Here's the park it started at again. There's lots of people here playing as well. And, there's even chairs to sit down at and stuff. Now, Nintendo New York City is the thing you need to go to. And this is where you probably should buy your merch, okay? Quite frankly, it's a beautiful store, lots of great Nintendo stuff. It's where you want to be, okay? I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you watched this raw footage. As you can see, I'm throwing the camera around. I hope you guys have a great GoFest. And if you have any question about Pokemon GoFest, let me know. And I'll make a new video coming up with some other things maybe down the road. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you at Pokemon GoFest 2024.
Thank you.